Hey there, and welcome back, or welcome for the first time. Before we begin, let me know where you're listening from and how long you've been with me. And if these stories help you sleep, don't forget to subscribe. It keeps the forest whispering. Story: my father is a park ranger. He took me with him on the night shift. I should have listened to his rules. This is how the human mind works. When you're walking through a forest, you don't think too much. You just let the silence surround you, feel the soft breeze and the branches crack under your feet. It's in our nature to yearn for such scenery. No matter how much we thrive in busy, concrete-soaked cities, forests are always welcoming and refreshing to us. The air is clear and crisp, and daylight plays hide and seek through the tall branches. It's inspiring and beautiful. Sometimes, though, as you walk on your path, your mind begins to focus on small things, noises, gusts of wind, shadows in the trees. Such silence can be both welcoming and unsettling, depends on how you view it. Forests are double-sided coins. They hide you away from the tiring city landscape, but expose you to another environment. You're not in control anymore, because this is not your home. You can lie to yourself and build a house there, but you don't belong in a forest. You're merely a visitor. That's national parks for you, an illusion of being in control. The fake freedom you feel when you walk on those marked paths and camp in the square assigned to you, when you think the silence around you is peaceful, but even the silence is an illusion. Is it a forest again, even when it's silent? Is it, really? It's not. Complete, absolute silence means death. Fear it. My father taught me that. He's a park ranger, and he's been doing this job since forever. I wasn't much of a fan of national parks, especially because most of the time there's no service and the hikes are killing me. I'd rather enjoy nature by swimming in a lake or skiing. Why break your legs to end up to a high point, just to see a random valley? Not to mention the animals, they were everywhere, and the insects always got on my nerves. I never understood his love for the forest. I guess that was one of the reasons why he started telling me scary stories from his night shift. Looking back, they were obviously made up, but to younger me, they seemed believable. I used to think he was so brave for working the night shift. As I got older, I got into horror, and even if I didn't believe in his forest creatures anymore, I still liked the idea of spending the night in a small cabin in the middle of nowhere, just for that dose of adrenaline. When my father said he wanted to take me with him, I accepted immediately. I knew why he offered. See, over the past years, our relationship had taken a big hit. I guess I was growing up and he didn't know how to handle that. He'd become emotionally distant and seemed to repel any of my tries to open up to him. In return, I'd become uninterested and irritable. In the words of my mother, this would have been a fun way to bond, I guess. We arrived at the park around 9 p.m. His shift started at 10 p.m. and ended at 6 a.m. His jeep pierced through the darkness and ventured into the woods. The headlights flashed the trees, turning them white against the black sky. I'd never been on this route, but, again, my visits to the park were rare. We drove for a while. Most of the time, people underestimate the size of national parks. It took us an hour and a half to get to the cabin, which wasn't even in the heart of the forest. I saw it, one single trace of humanity in the middle of nowhere, a tiny, wooden cabin with flickering light bulbs and watchdogs. Before we got out of the car, my father stopped me. Listen. There's some instructions you need to follow here. I know it might seem unimportant, but they're crucial. Then, he handed me a piece of paper. A list of handwritten rules. At first, they were ordinary. Don't go out alone in the park. Don't leave food out, etc. I thought the rest of the rules had been put there just to freak me out. Dad, I'm not 12 anymore. You can't freak me out with this shit. I'm not trying to. You wanted to come here with me, so act accordingly. What even is this? If you see a man without an arm, don't help him. We have all kinds of weirdos around here. And this? If the whistling is near you, it means they're far. My father smiled, but his eyes didn't. Some of these are added by superstitious fellas. It's more of a what if. It's not gonna happen to you. Don't go out alone in the park. Always have a working contact device. Don't leave marked paths unless instructed to and/or with proper equipment. Don't leave food out and lock the trash bins. Always keep on the whistle and the badge. If you see a man without an arm, don't help him. Your family is not in here. Remember, there is no reason for you to hear their voices from outside. Lock your car doors, even when you are driving. Check the marks on the trees. There's only 3 types of marks, all triangles. Red, yellow, and green. Other marks are not ours. Don't follow them. If the whistling is near you, it means they're far. If it's far away, it means they're near. Beware of dead blue. What is dead blue? I asked. My father sighed. You know when you're out in the woods, when you think what you hear is silence, but you realize there's dozens of sounds around you, from birds to crickets to leaves rustling. Yeah, that's because there's no such thing as silence. Absolute silence. Never. There's always sound. Movement. Life. Dead blue is complete and utter silence. That's our, code name for it. Death-inducing silence. Unnatural. Right. And when that happens, it won't. But if it does. He paused, staring at the steering wheel. Then his head turned to me. His eyes darted from mine to the window behind me. You leave. That being said, he got out of the car and I followed. The cabin was dusty and cramped. I couldn't understand how he could spend 8 hours in here. He had a small TV, but it wasn't working, a desk, and a mini fridge. You sit here all alone? I asked. Yeah. Why? That freak you out? Don't you get bored? Martin's post is 10 minutes away. Sometimes I just drive over. Nothing really happens out here anyway. My spot is pretty far from the campsites. I just have to patrol from time to time to make sure no one wanders off into the night, but that rarely happens. This is one of the wilder areas, less explored. You haven't explored it all. His eyes sparkled. Wouldn't be possible. So you don't know what's out there. That's the fun of it. You said you wanted adrenaline. There you go. I nodded. He opened the mini fridge and threw me some juice. Orange juice. I'd mentioned I liked this brand once, and he'd remembered. Maybe our relationship wasn't so bad. We sat next to each other in the small cabin. Dad locked it. I'm not gonna lie to you, most of the time I just sleep. Literally nothing ever happens. So you really didn't see any creatures out there, like the ones you told me about when I was little? I jokingly asked. The only creature out there is my manager, and I'd rather face a million cryptids than talk to him. I laughed. I leaned in to look out the windows. I can't see anything. Just my reflection. Want me to dim down the light? Yeah. He did, and darkness crept inside the tiny cabin. The woods became more prominent, more vivid. The light made by the moon was unbelievable, and the stars were actually visible compared to the polluted city. The cabin was on a hill, propped up a tree, with a trapdoor and a ladder leading to our car. We could actually see above the tree line, into the valley. We spent the first hours talking. Somewhere around midnight, I began dozing off. I didn't want to, but I caved in and fell asleep with my head on the desk. He woke me up. I rubbed my eyes in confusion. What time is it? I got a call from Martin. Right. Who was Martin? I mumbled. The other one in the area. He says he got a call from the campsite and someone's missing. We need to go search for him. We? As in us? Yeah. You'll stay in the back seat. I'm on the phone with Martin right now. I could hear Martin's muffled voice through the speaker. Wait, don't take the kid. Why not? He'll stay in the car. Paul, it could be one of those nights. We won't get out of the car. You can't guarantee that. Well, I can't leave him here. Alone. In the dark. A pause followed. Look, Paul, I understand you wanted to do a take your kid to work day, but I don't know about this one. It could be dangerous. We're literally just going to drive around for a bit. It's fine. Leave him in the cabin. Dad put his hand over one of the speakers, so I didn't understand what Martin told him. His eyes kept darting to the window behind me. He sighed. Martin will come pick me up. You are staying here, locked. Turn the lights off and wait for me to return. It's gonna take a minute and you'll be safe here. What? I'm not staying here alone. What did Martin tell you to change your mind? It doesn't matter. I'll return in maximum half an hour. You can go back to sleep if you want. Or I can call you and we can talk. I was afraid. Truly afraid. I did not want to show it, especially after I'd complained that nothing interesting happened around there, so I reluctantly agreed. My dad opened the trapdoor and climbed down the ladder, then his face disappeared into the darkness. I saw Martin's car pick him up and drive away. Silence followed. I wished I'd been home, in my bed. Instead, I sat stiff on the chair and waited. And waited. I began imagining the worst. What if they'd crashed? What if a bear had found them? I didn't want to let my fear get the best of me, but I thought about his legends and the set of rules. I hoped the writers were just paranoid. At around 2 a.m., I heard a knock on the shack door. I felt my chest tighten. Another knock followed. I wanted to respond, but something in me didn't allow me to. Then, I heard my dad's voice. Kev, open. It's cold out here. It echoed through the cabin. My eyes were dry from the lack of sleep, but my mind was fully awake. I stared at the phone. Then, at the shack door. Kev, open, please. I know you're there. I saw you at the window. I turned off the light completely. I don't know why I had this urge, but if my dad could see me from the window, anyone could. Or anything. And I didn't like to be on display like that. You don't have a key. It locks from the inside. Shit, yeah. How was it? Did you find him? Yeah, we did. He was drunk off his ass. We helped him return to his friends. Could have been a lot worse. As I was talking to him, I searched for the keys in the drawer. It was strange, because I hadn't heard anyone climbing the ladder. Or seen Martin's car drive my dad back to the cabin. How did you get here, without Martin? What do you mean? Open up, Kev, I'm freezing. Answer the question. He did drive me here. Didn't see any headlights. They were off, to not draw the attention of animals. Bullshit. I pulled out the crumpled piece of paper. 6. Your family is not in here. Remember, there is no reason for you to hear their voices from outside. My hand was shaking so bad, I could barely grab the phone. I skimmed through my contacts. Kdef, Kana. Dad. I called him. The phone was ringing, yet no sound came from beneath the shack door. My dad picked up. Anything okay? In the blinding darkness of the cabin, surrounded by the howling wind, I toned my voice down to a whisper. Dad, someone out there is pretending to be you. A long pause followed. When he spoke, his voice was trembling. Don't open. Turn off the lights. Did you turn them off when I told you? I turned them off now. No, you should have turned them off when I left. I'm sorry. It's fine. Don't talk to it. Did you talk to it? Guilt crept up my spine. I don't know why, but I lied. I did not. Good. Stay put. I'm coming after you. But what if the thing sees you? You'll have to face it. We have ways to distract them. It's fine. Don't be scared. I lied again. I'm not. Good. I love you. I'm coming. I wasn't scared for me. I was scared for him. The voice from below continued. Kev, please open. Please. It's cold. I didn't answer. Knocks followed. The voice went on. Did you talk to someone on the phone? Kev, I lost my phone in the woods. Whoever is out there and has my phone is not me. It's not me. It's not me. It kept repeating. It's not me. It's not me. I began feeling lightheaded. Fear is one thing, but this was a combination of anxiety, stress, and guilt. I tried to control my breaths, but to no avail. The cabin was spinning around me. It's not 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 me. Shut up. Shut up. And it did. Silence followed. I pulled out the list again and started reading and rereading the rules, like a lunatic. I kept listening for noises from outside. The wind was still going. Good. No dead blue. Then I heard a loud thud from my wall. Another followed, and another. It sounded like footsteps. They moved to the roof of the cabin. I could hear my heartbeat in my ears. Whatever was out there was now climbing around my cabin. I could hear the scratching outside. I started to cry and covered my mouth with my hand. I just wanted my dad. I wished I could see his face again. The universe, somehow, ironically responded because my dad's face suddenly appeared at one of the windows. He raised his hand and knocked. I stared at him through my eyebrows, my head tilted. Scarcely breathing, I remained still. He kept knocking. That wasn't my dad. The cabin was tied to a tree at around 10 meters from the ground. He could not be at the window. The creature knocked and knocked, and for what seemed like an eternity, we just made eye contact. Blood was dripping from one of its nostrils. Another phone call woke me from my trance. Kevin, are you there? Are you in the cabin? Yes. And the thing looks like you. And it's at the window. I'm coming right now. I'll shoot it. Don't worry. I'm just about to turn a corner. Dad, I'm really scared for you. Martin's coming, too. It's okay. Truly, in a few minutes, Martin's car pulled up. I cried in relief. The thing turned its head to look, then back to me. It opened its mouth wide and, using its fingers, pulled the corners upwards to form a smile, then jumped into the woods, into the darkness. Gunshots followed. After a few silent minutes, I called my dad. He picked up. Where are you? I asked. I'm coming to get you. I saw him walk towards the cabin, then heard him climb up the stairs. I unlocked the trapdoor and hugged him tight. What was that? Please, tell me we're going home. We are. I'm so sorry. I should have never put you through this. Come on. As we walked towards our car, my blood ran cold. It was not something I'd seen or heard, but the opposite. See, the wind had stopped. The crickets had stopped. Dead blue. I sprinted to the car, got into the driver's seat, then locked the doors. My dad was standing in front of the car, confused. That's when I got a text, and I hit the gas. I ran him over, then turned the car around and sped up into the night. I barely knew how to work it out, since I didn't have my license, but I left as quick as possible. Behind me, a car followed. When I got to the nearest checkpoint, I stopped. The car was Martin's. He got out, alone. "Where's my dad?" I asked. "He, took an ATV to get you. Said he'd get there faster. I texted him to turn around and that you were safe." The text he'd sent me. "Martin and I split up. He may get there faster than me, and if he does, he'll text me to turn and head to the checkpoint. There is no one with Martin. He's alone." I thought I'd unlocked the trap door to my dad when he'd actually taken an ATV and turned to the checkpoint. The thing I'd ran over wasn't my dad, and I'd known it since I felt that unnerving silence. However, no one at the checkpoint had seen my father. As I'm typing this, I'm afraid for him, but a part of me knows he's alive. Maybe he took another route or got lost. Whatever he did, I'll find him. While I tell you what happened, please keep one thing in mind: stay away from the forest. Forget everything that I told you the last time about recreation and nature and all that. It's not worth it. It really isn't. I didn't want to say it, but deep down I knew. It was my fault that my dad was missing. No matter what cryptic creatures roamed the park, he'd been safe until I showed up. Through me, he'd showed them he had a weakness. And they fed on his fear. Now, it was possible I would never see him again, and it was all my fault. I knew it. I just chose to bury it deep down in my chest and let it sink deeper in my stomach, a knot that would never disappear. As I was sitting there, at the checkpoint, covered in a blanket and shivering from the stress, Martin approached me. As much as I wanted to ask him about the park, the rules, my dad, something inside me didn't know whether to trust him or not. Was he the real Martin? He sat down next to me. "I'm sorry." The night was still cold and unwelcoming. The trees stood tall and sober in front of us, crowned by the dark, never-ending sky. No stars. Just a black, soulless night. Maybe clouds had rolled in. I kept thinking of how 4 hours ago I'd been searching for constellations with my dad. "What do you mean?" "I'm sorry for your dad." "Don't say that. You say it like he's dead." Martin didn't answer and didn't look at me either. I turned my body towards him. "He's not dead." "He isn't." Martin remained silent. Then, without thinking, I punched his arm. He pulled away and frowned. "It's not my fault. He shouldn't have brought you here. Tell me everything you know about this stupid park. I deserve it. You owe it to me, and it's the only way I can actually find him." He stared at me for a while, and so long had passed until his response that I thought he had decided not to answer. When he finally spoke, his voice was toned down to a whisper. "We thought they were lying. Both me and Paul and the others. When we got hired here, we heard the stories, the legends and everything, but assumed those were horror stories passed around. We didn't stop to listen and didn't believe anything until we saw it with our own eyes. See, this park is huge. Huge, and no one ever bothered to explore it. I thought they lacked the resources, but now I see they were just afraid." He stopped to look around. It would be ridiculous of him to hide from anyone right now. Why would he feel ashamed of telling me these? I thought, but then realized he was probably looking around himself to stay aware not of someone, but of something. That's the thing. Even when you've been face to face with the supernatural, your mind still searches for a logical explanation. We started writing down the occurrences, trying to find a pattern or a way to avoid them. We thought that, if we wrote down those rules, we might be able to not get inconvenienced much. He wiped his face with his hand. We never knew this could happen. None of us had ever disappeared. We just thought the worst they could do was annoy us, creep us out, hurt us. He was sweating, even if it was freezing outside. He kept shaking his head. People always refused to believe he'd never actually seen anything. I sighed. I felt too alert to let my guard down and cry, but I craved it. Why do you let tourists here? Campers. They only care about those who wander off. They search for it in your soul, the desire to get lost. And then they help you. A shiver ran down my spine for no reason. I hugged myself, then sneezed. I need your help to find him. Tomorrow morning. No, Martin. He could get hurt. I turned towards the dark mass of trees. He's out there, alone, now. Who's out there? Said a woman, coming out of the cabin. My dad. He's missing. She frowned, then looked at Martin. Which post? 62, he replied. Shit. That's my next shift. I could look for him with you, if you want. I'll take my car and go to the post. Tell you if anything shows up. Martin looked back at the cozy cabin, warmly lit, then to the dark woods. With a sigh, he stood up and started walking to his car. I followed. He locked the car doors, and then I called my dad. My heart was beating so fast, I thought it would break free from my chest. No answer. I took a deep breath. Right. We should, look for his ATV first. We drove back to his post, then we started checking the other paths around the main road. His ATV couldn't have gotten too far. We found it parked in front of a big oak tree, but no trace of my dad. The trees surrounding it made it impossible for the car to pass through, so we came to the grim conclusion that we had to get out and search for him by foot. We ran over the rules one more time, to be sure. No weird markings. Dead blue. Whistling, loved ones, one-armed man. Got it. I held on to Martin's arm as we sunk deeper into the dark trees, our flashlights drawing out more shadows than usual. Calling out for him. Begging him to come out. I yelled his name over and over until my throat started to hurt. I could feel branches hanging on to my clothes in unnatural, twisted angles. At one point, we stopped dead in our tracks. Ahead of us, behind a tree, something was moving. Who's that? Oh, wouldn't you like to know? We both froze. What? The old lady voice continued. Who could it be? It was as if she was hiding behind the tree. One of her bony hands appeared from one side, and the other from the other side. She moved them around, tracing the outline of the tree with her fingers. It looked as if she was playing with us, to make the tree seem like it had hands. I knew I had to try. Have you seen my dad? Have you seen my face? She replied, instantly. And no. Would you like to? I turned to Martin, right when the old lady, or whatever it was, jumped from behind the tree. Even though I hadn't seen her face, I could make out how grotesque it looked judging Martin's expression. He fired a few shots, and I heard a wail like nothing else I'd heard before. It felt as if my ears were ripped off. Then, silence. I don't think this is safe, Kev. No shit. I'm sorry about your dad, but I'm sure he's fine if we just search for him in daylight. No, he could die by then. Every moment is precious. I thought Martin was looking at me angry, but I realized two things. One, he wasn't looking at me, but behind me, and two, he wasn't angry, but confused. Kev, don't move. Right in that moment, I heard a whistle far in the distance. If the whistling is near you, it means they're far. If it's far away, it means they're near. I opened my mouth to scream, but right in that instant, as Martin reached for me, I blacked out. When I woke up, I had a terrible headache. I was still in the woods, but Martin was gone, and so was his car. I felt incredibly drained, and my hands were shaking so bad, I could barely lift them up. I started walking back to my dad's ATV, hoping I could take it and move on with my search. I checked the time, but something else stood out on my phone. The date. It was 1 day later. I'd been in the woods for a whole day. My head foggy, my body stiff, I got on the ATV and figured out how to start it, then drove back to the main road and to my father's post. I could see the light on and make out a silhouette. I stopped, studying its outline. It looked like it had only one arm. If you see a man without an arm, don't help him. It was too late. He'd seen me and was climbing down the ladder. I got back on the ATV and drove away. Right when I was halfway through, I ran out of gas. Behind me, footsteps. Kid, hold on. I see you met my wife earlier. What a fine woman she is. My head was pulsating. Don't fucking come near me. Come on. You wanna find your dad or not? You wouldn't know where he is. Bullshit. I spoke to him this morning. Rage filled me and replaced the fear. I got down and turned to the old man, who had been limping behind me, and hit him. Don't speak about him. Don't you dare. The old man laughed, and I saw his only tooth staring back at me. I pushed him away and started running back to the post. I ran and ran and ran without looking back until my limbs ached of a pain I'd never known before. I got to the post and climbed up the ladder, then locked the shack door and called my mother, who was worried sick about me. I barely managed to get a word out before I collapsed from exhaustion. When I woke up, morning was creeping in. I called my dad one more time. The phone rang a few times. Yeah. Kev. Tears gathered in my eyes. My throat hurt to speak, but I did. Dad. Dad, is that you? Where are you? Kev, get out of the forest. They'll let me go. They want you. It didn't make any sense. I stared at the floor, phone in hand, speechless. What do you mean? Where exactly are you? Kev, don't come after me. I can't do that. I can't just leave you there. I could make out heavy breathing on the other side of the phone. Dad, just tell me where you are. I won't come after you. I promise. I'll be safe. At the checkpoint. I'll send Martin. His voice was trembling. I don't know where I am. I've never been on this side of the forest. I think it's somewhere east. Do you see any markings on the trees? Yeah, but none of the good ones. These markings aren't ours. These markings aren't ours. I paused, and so did he. I had my phone to my right ear, and suddenly, someone whistled right next to my left, startling me. I took a deep breath. Relax. It means they're far. There's something else, my dad said. The cabin felt cold, and yet I was sweating, suffering from an unexplainable fever. I could barely hold the phone anymore. Kev, I'm not alone here. Something else is with me. I can't get out either. It feels like I'm walking in a circle, back and forth, and I'm afraid to go too far. It's as if it's guarding me. It doesn't want me to get out. I heard another whistle to my left, only this time it didn't feel like it was directly into my ear anymore. They're getting closer. Right. I have to go. I wanted to hang up, but my hand wasn't listening to me. I just let the phone fall to the ground. In the reflection of the window, I saw myself, pale, dark veins under my eyes, and dry lips. What was going on? I felt like puking. I kneeled, then started rocking back and forth, unsure what to do, how to play this out. I knew that was surely my dad, because the creatures can't talk on the phone, but I didn't know where he was, and something inside me told me they wouldn't let him go unless I personally went out to look for him. I didn't know whether Martin would help me again, and, judging by how fast he'd left me alone there, it didn't seem like he was too eager to reach out. My stomach turned, and my chest tightened as I puked on the floor of the cabin. The next minutes were a blur. I remember my hands, and my knees crawling to the chap, then basically falling down the ladder and breaking my ankles on the ground, then trying to stand up, and failing. I remained laying on the leaves, staring at the sky. I could just fall asleep here. Forever. Another whistle to my left, this time, further away. I didn't have much time until they found me again. Hey, kid. Fuck no. So soon. I lifted myself from the ground enough to look at whoever was coming. It was the lady from the checkpoint. The one who said her shift was about to start. I mean, that's how it looked. I didn't know whether it was really her. I didn't answer. Just blankly stared at her gray leather boots and ginger ponytail. Are you okay? I stood up. She tried to help me, but I yelled at her not to touch me. Stay away. Now. A look of confusion swept over her face. Where'd you come from? I want to ask you the same thing. What? She smiled, a bit amused. My dad is missing. You find that funny? She scratched her head. Who's your dad? We had this exact same conversation back at the checkpoint with Martin. You should have remembered. I know he's missing, but I don't know his name. I don't know everyone around here, she replied, annoyed. After I had told her, she shook her head. Never heard of him. Why isn't anyone talking about this? Your park rangers just go missing. Hell, I've been here for 2 days now, and you don't seem to even care. What about my mother? Did you talk to her? Did you talk to Martin, since his egoistical ass left me here dash? And Martin didn't come back to the checkpoint, she answered, stoically. After that night, we didn't see him again. I stared at her in disbelief. Take me there. If it's really you. I need to talk to more people. I can't be alone here with you. I understand your dad is missing, but it's not exactly like it's so uncommon around here, and please be polite. Don't let frustration cloud your judgment and make you unnecessarily irritable. Unnecessarily. I have every right to be angry. What do you mean, it's not so uncommon? Martin said no one went missing here. She frowned, tilting her head, then looked away. I was still feeling sick, but at least I could stand on my own legs. Another whistle echoed, this time deep into the woods. Tall trees surrounded us, and the familiar cabin seemed now desolate and rotten. Nothing made sense anymore. Your dad is not the first to go missing. Many went before him, and many will follow. It's not something you can negotiate. It just happens. Martin said. She slowly shook her head. It's not something well known. We don't want to scare our rangers. When I spoke, I sounded choked out. Who else went missing? She hesitated. Silence filled the space between us, and I could tell she was uncomfortable. I didn't give her time to finish. I'd been running for so long that my legs had gone numb. Hitting my shoulders on tree trunks and struggling not to trip and roll on the ground, I felt like running was the only thing that could save me. Deep into the forest, I wondered how long someone could go without water or food. At some point, I stopped to sit down. I couldn't take it anymore. My heart was literally telling me that if I didn't stop soon, it would. The moment I sat on the moss, I realized I wasn't alone. I swallowed. I swear to God. In front of me sat the ginger lady. Go away, please. Leave me alone. I just want to help. I don't believe you. I went missing a long time ago. I don't remember what I was doing, patrolling around, I think. Anyway, Post 62 is notorious for interesting stuff happening around. 62, 24, 46, they're not haunted, generally speaking, but energy points. And as far as I know, they come from the earth. They're corpses. Forests used to be humanity's cemeteries and ritual dumpsters in general. I don't know what went on around here, but these woods have swallowed so much blood. It's like mass, this blood. This death. The more it gathers, it creates this gravity and asks for even more. More blood. More death. She was softly murmuring, as if telling a bedtime story. I saw those markings, and even if I didn't recognize them, I was ashamed to call and ask. I thought they'd been part of my training, and not recognizing them would have made me look bad. Back then, no rules were written down. She sighed. Anyway, I came to this clearing in the woods, and, well, I don't remember how I died. All I know is that I was following my mom's voice. I don't remember how it sounds like now. How long have you been there for? She ignored my question. You are still alive. You could leave. I want to, well, tell you it's not that bad here. She smiled, but her eyes didn't. There's always something to do here. They're always looking for another. I shook my head as she nodded. Okay. Well, you're looking for your dad. I think you already know what you need to do. Look behind you. I did. Behind me, a blue triangle. Almost fluorescent. When I turned back to her, she was gone. I walked and walked, each step muffled by the damp earth and fallen leaves. You know, I'd never been in such woods before. They didn't feel alive in the usual way, millions of little lives roaming around, but they felt like a being of their own, and the earth rose and fell under my feet, almost mocking my breaths. I passed a bridge, then a tunnel in one of these godforsaken mountains. When I got out, I could hear whispers and whistles. How are you? Why, I'm fine. Just a little ravished. Well, wait. It's soon, I believe. I believe, too. Do you believe? Yes. Soon. 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 What was about to happen soon? I tried calling out for my dad, since my phone and flashlight had died, but someone else answered, and it wasn't him, so I decided to keep my mouth shut. I passed through this garden of roses, clinging onto my clothes. Roses are most popular and loved flowers, who never miss a chance to draw blood. In the distance, more trees. One of them looked broken. Coming closer, I realized something was hanging from it. Or someone. I didn't recognize their face. I kept walking and saw more. Hanging from the trees, their bare feet floating above my head, looming over me. I stopped looking at their faces, afraid I'd see my dad. Eventually, I reached this hill and smelled something burning. Coming closer, I saw this fire, and... Martin. The minute I said that, pain pierced my shoulder. My back hit the tree. I smelled something metallic. Go away, said Martin. No, it's me, believe me. I cannot do this now. I already saw you 5 times. I don't believe you anymore. No. I'm telling the truth. Another razor flew to me, but I dodged it. I started crying and fell to my knees. I told him about the ginger lady, and my dad, and the stars, and my life, in a way that no doppelganger could. They could try to take my life, but they didn't know anything about it. Martin's gaze softened. He sighed. I saw over 12 sunsets here. I had to kill them to eat. The mimics. I ate their meat. They mimicked my family, loved ones. They even mimicked you. I've killed my family countless times here. Countless. We talked for a while. He told me he didn't want to go any further because he'd seen a clearing and had a bad feeling, and I understood. At one point, he interrupted me. Can you hear the fire? Truly, I heard no rustling. Not of leaves, not the fire. No wind. Dead blue. Run. I did. With Martin behind me, we ran until the moonlight shone freely, without the burden of the trees. We'd reached the clearing. I stopped, breathless. My dad was laying there, unconscious. I threw myself on the ground and grabbed him, shaking his shoulders. My voice was hoarse, and my eyes stung from the tears. Wake up, Dad. Wake up, please. Now. He didn't. Suddenly, Martin let out a wail. I turned around and saw him in, some sort of figure over him. I don't know what it was. Choose. I froze. Someone had whispered right into my left ear. Choose. One or the other. Martin was yelling. My dad was silent. I understood then and there. Dad. I choose him. Let him live. Martin's scream stopped, and my dad started coughing behind me. I turned to him and hugged him tight. He was confused and dizzy. Martin, on the other hand, was laying on the cold earth, his eyes open, his skin bruised. Guilt washed over me. However, I didn't have time to process it, because a powerful light shone onto us. A helicopter. I grabbed the ladder without thinking and helped my dad up. The last thing I saw before I looked up was the ginger lady, sitting cross-legged on the grass, next to Martin's body. We were taken back to the entrance of the park. The next hours were filled with questions. About the park. About our disappearance. About Martin's murder. We're now the prime suspects, but I'm just glad I got out, and I know it's because of his sacrifice. However, I'd really like to speak to him again. I can't rest knowing his innocent soul is out there. I plan on giving more updates on my account. There's one other thing. I'd never dare to admit it. Sometimes, when I look at my dad, even weeks after what happened, I wonder if it's really him. Thank you for listening to Night Whispers. If the shadows kept you company tonight, leave a comment. Tell me where in the world you're listening from. And if you're brave enough, like, subscribe, and come back next time. Just don't follow the voice in the trees.